This is Burn This Book, a podcast where we, Nicole and Eden, read a banned or challenged book and discuss its meaning, impact, and censorship to make it more accessible for all readers. You are tuning in to our summer literacy program, where we pick a literary device. We both have such a hard time saying that word. We pick a literary device and we explain it. Our hope is that you are able to use it as you continue to read these frequently challenged and banned books. Today we're talking about dialogic questioning, which isn't a literary device per se, but it is a way to discuss and understand literature. So I actually had a lot of confusion about this. So I had a phone call with Eden beforehand because I was like, how does this fit in to this session? And then she used dialogic questioning to explain and to help me find my own answers.
Yeah.
So how would you describe this concept?
How do I describe this concept? So it's an approach where readers actively engage with text by asking open-ended questions that don't have a single correct answer. And I first came across this, I want to say there are two places I came across this. I want to say I came across this on a media literacy podcast. Actually, yes, that did come from there. From Those Media Moms, or those, I think that's the name of the group where they
they're called Those Media Moms?
Yes.
I thought you were like referencing like some media moms.
You know, those
just,
media moms.
Yeah.
But they're called Those Media Moms, where they talk about constructive screen time and stuff like that. And the most constructive screen time you can have with your child is one where you watch with them and you dialogic question them about what they're watching. Another instance that I came across this was the Harry Potter and the Sacred Text podcast, where it's two Harvard Divinity School graduates who read through Harry Potter using reading approaches like dialogic questioning to more deeply understand the text. So it's not like surface level, oh, Malfoy's mean to Harry. Like, why do you think Malfoy is mean to Harry?
Yeah.
What does he have to prove? What happens if he doesn't prove that? Now do you understand why Malfoy is a punk?
Yeah. You started going nuanced with Malfoy's character and then ended in one-dimensional.
You're right. There's only one answer. He's a punk.
I loved that. That's really helpful. I think Eden broke it down to me also by using the example of a book that we read for this upcoming season that I was like, eh. And I just didn't like. Like, I liked it. I think there's a lot of value to it, but I was like, meh. And Eden expressed that there is how she's going to talk about it with her daughter when her daughter's in high school. And how she will talk about it is through dialogic questioning. So asking, like, do you think that this was appropriate of this character to do that? Would you have been uncomfortable, or would you have been comfortable? Or what parts of this plot made you feel excited or frustrated or whatever? It was like a lot of interrogating how the book made the reader feel. And I loved that. I thought that was so helpful. And I think another good example of this is if you listen to any opinion podcast, like the Ezra Klein Show or even Interesting Times, they're all very much questioning and working through a concept and asking each other questions. Actually, the best example I'm going to offer is this new podcast, Cannonball, with Wesley Morris, where he goes through. We love Wesley Morris. Yeah. It's a new podcast where he goes through cultural figures or cultural events that he's not sure how he feels. So he invites someone on and they talk, and he starts discovering what he feels about it through the conversation. So he covers Bruno Mars. And why does he feel a little bit uncomfortable with Bruno Mars? He couldn't pin it down. And then also the Diddy trial. And but the questions that they ask each other are so good in that it's like, at what point did you start feeling this way? Or I don't know. It's a really helpful um, example of why you need people to understand concepts, because you can question it with each other.
Hmm. Yeah, the way I think about dialogic questioning, it's two parts. One is the act of observing first. So, like
Mm-hmm.
whether reading a book, watching something, listening to something, meditating, like looking at your own thoughts. And then the second part is the reflection, and that's where the dialogic questioning comes in. So, like, for example, for meditation, after observing all these thoughts and feelings that you had in the moment, why am I feeling this? What
Mm-hmm.
exactly is leading to me feeling this way at this moment? Or watching Daniel Tiger. Why do you think Daniel is feeling really upset
Mm-hmm.
about his dad being upset at him?
Yeah.
Or like with books, like why do you think well, it's funny I don't have a book example off the top of my head. Well, I'll do this is a sneak peek into the Forever episode because that was the book that Nicole was talking
Mm-hmm.
about. Like, what do you think Catherine actually made the decision herself to have sex? Or was she ultimately like just worn down by Michael's insistence day after day? Like,
Yeah.
was it actually a choice to do that?
Yeah.
Um, I think like this also there's like a this is a very parenting technique too, I feel. Like rather than give your child an answer every time, then I tend to like to flip it and ask my daughter like, well, why do you think that happened? If she asks me like, hey
Mm.
mom, why did that happen? I'll turn it back and say, well, why do you think? And it helps her take in all the cue, like just widen her frame a bit and understand the context before narrowing back in.
Mm. I think that's so helpful. I think to widen our own frames with this
Hmm.
conversation, even, I think if we applied this technique to all media, like the news, it
Yes.
would truly, truly encourage critical thinking. And it's a really easy exercise to practice critical thinking.
Yeah.
Because if you're looking at a news program and you're like, wow, why are they focusing on this one story more than any other stories?
Hmm.
Why aren't they talking about this? Who owns this media program?
Yep.
Where do they get, how do they get paid? What channel is this on? Is a good question. Who
Hmm.
created this channel
Yep.
and why? I think I think just asking those basic context questions with books and with everything we encounter is really, really helpful in us being able to understand and then have agency in what we think about it.
Yeah.
It takes us from passive consumers to pretty proactive livers in our lives. Like we're actually
Livers.
livers and kidneys.
Proactive hearts and
We're
lungs.
proactive hearts, but I do, it makes us into actors, I guess, instead of just viewers, because we can actually change the channel or be like, huh, there is nuance. um, I also think a really beautiful outcome of dialogic questioning is building sympathy. Like those
Hmm.
questions you asked about Draco Malfoy. Why did he do that? What pressures is he under?
Hmm.
Is he just a punk?
Yep.
Um,
He's just a punk.
yeah, you're able to see him with nuance and say, oh, he probably did that because he's feeling this and he's only been exposed to that. Yada yada. Doesn't excuse the behavior, but it helps us understand the behavior a little bit better.
Yeah, definitely. I came across one, two, three, four types of dialogic questions.
Mm,
There's interpretive,
okay.
evaluative, connective, and speculative. So, like, interpretive would be, why does the author choose to tell this story from this character's perspective?
Okay.
Evaluative, is the protagonist's decision justified given their circumstances? Connective, how does this character's experience relate to current social issues? And speculative, what would happen if this story took place today?
Ooh, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Which question do you feel like you fall back on the most often? Because I think that I want to write these down so that I can go back to them when I'm reading anything. Because
Yeah,
I do feel like I fall back to like the um I never think about how things would happen if took place today.
yeah.
I never do that. I
Never
should.
ever.
I think I should. I think that'd be helpful. I'm very comfortable in putting it into its own context and just leaving it there. Um, like
I think you
would
do that though. Like, I'm thinking of our The
oh
Handmaid's Tale,
oh yes yes
and I guess this is more, maybe that's like connective and current social issues more than
yeah,
speculative. Okay, never
because
mind.
I have a hard time like I'm thinking about the tree. A Tree Grows in Brooklyn. That book is very much set um, pre World War II, and that context is so important
Mm-hmm.
of when it is happening because of the different immigrant groups that have come over. It's telling the story of specific groups that are in America, and it's also telling the story of a specific time in how New York City was being governed. And I've never thought about like what would that book look like today if it was written in 2025.
Yeah,
And that's a really interesting question for me. That's a fun question. I want to revisit that book now.
that'd be very interesting. There'd be a lot more. Actually, I've not read A Tree Grows in Brooklyn.
What?
I know that's one of the books. I
American
remember like
classic.
our freshman year, you were talking about that. Our freshman year, what? How many years ago? 15 years ago. You talking about that, and I've had that on my to be read list forever. And I think within the last year, I like took it off because I'm like, I think it's
You'll
time for
never
me
read
to
it.
say, I'm never ever gonna read this.
That's okay. You don't have to read it.
Yeah, thank you
You don't have to. I give you permission to let that one
to
go.
let it go.
Yeah. It's just written so beautifully. That's all. That's all I have to say.
Now it's back on my to be read
And
list.
it like goes through different phases of the family. It's kind of good. Okay.
Yeah,
Um, and there just aren't a lot of books about Italian American children.
yeah.
Okay. But once again, you don't have to
Godfather.
read it. That's not Eden. That's a trope. That's a stereotype. Uh,
He is a child of an
oh my
Italian
gosh, I
American.
know, but
Yeah,
mafia books don't count.
yeah,
Okay. Um, so I think as far as dialogic questioning, this is a wonderful tool to better understand books and to talk about it with your family and talk about it with your kids and talk about it with your teachers. Think of it like the Socratic method. You're opening the dialogue and finding many answers through the questions that you ask.
yeah. And I think like going, gathering so many questions or so many answers to a question is a sign of a good question. I
It
guess
is. And I
because I
also
think,
think you're
yeah,
exercising parts of your brain,
yeah.
which
There
is
you go.
really critical so that you don't just fall onto the easiest answer, which
Yeah.
is usually not true when it comes to human behavior.
Hmm. And I think like most often than not, a lot of my English classes ended with more questions than with answers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I wonder if that like just looking at members of my family, there are a lot of people who are more black and white thinking, and I tend to be the most gray. Um, and I wonder, and I'm also like the biggest reader in the family as well. So like I
Mm,
wonder if like all of the dialogic questioning and everything just keeps on expanding my world in that sense because there is no one answer to
yeah.
anything that I'm like, okay, I'm okay with leaving it open ended.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I think there's also like, um, not that I have to say it, but I'm just going to say it because people interpret things and walk away with little sound bites. There's still morals and there's still ethics. There's still
Mhm.
right and wrong, you know? The
Yeah.
motivation to choose wrong or to choose right is often very nuanced. The
Hmm.
path that gets us there, like Draco is still a villain
Hmm.
in Harry Potter. Voldemort had a horrible life. He had really tough childhood. We get that. We see this. Very
Hmm.
misunderstood. There's a lot going on there. Understanding his why or understanding the context or questioning the circumstances that led him there doesn't excuse his behavior.
Yeah.
And I think that that's important also. I think, but I do think it increases our sympathy. You can be sympathetic for something or somebody while still holding them accountable for choices. One more example, reading the book The Hate You Give. This would be an excellent book to do dialogic questioning with,
Hmm.
to understand what's happening, how this feels. Um, Also, reading a book that you don't agree with. I think a lot of people are really afraid to read books of different social philosophies, like the Communist Manifesto or even Mein Kampf, to give you completely opposite examples. But reading the book um, with this approach can be helpful to understand world events, what happened, what people took from it. Um, don't censor it just because it's uncomfortable. Read it with a dialogic questioning mentality.
Hmm. And most English classes, actually, I would say all English classes, have that Socratic method and
Mm-hmm.
dialogic questioning in them.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Burn This Book was produced by us, Eden and Nicole.
And the music was written by me and performed and recorded by my dad, Frank. Also, send us a rating or review on Apple Podcast.
Yeah. We'll need to get back to reading some comments because some people are giving us some reviews.
Are they negative?
No, they're all positive.
What?
Everyone, newsflash, everyone loves us.
I'm not going to question that. No
Yeah.
dialogic questioning about that
Uh-uh.
comment.
There's only one right answer here.
Just kidding. If you do have negative feedback, you can definitely tell us or email us so that we can become better too.
Awesome.
That's okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.